Hi everyone, welcome you all. Today we are going to have a quick revision of functions, and here we are going to see what are functions, how to create them, what is the perfect syntax for creating function in Python. So first thing first, what is function? In Python, a function is a group of related statements that performs a specific task. Function helps break our program into smaller and molecular chunks. As our program grows larger and larger, functions make it more organized and manageable. Further, it divides repetition and makes the code reusable. And here is the syntax can be used to create a function. Def is a keyword which indicates we are going to start a function, and then it's a function name. Now you have to use all the names, valid naming rules or naming rules for identifier to specify function name, and then we can specify parameters in the parentheses. These are optional. If your program requires it, you can use it, otherwise we can omit it. And then we have a colon which marks the end of the function header. After this, we are going to indent it and specify a doc string which optionally can specify what function does or what function it is and what is the working it performs. Followed by doc string, we have number of statements makes the body of the functions, and then finally at the end we have a optional return statement which can be used to return a value from the function. Okay, now let us have a function. Before we do that, we have to make it comment. Okay, if you want to note it down, you can note it down. I'm going to create a simple function which says hello world. So let's specify greet. We can specify a name here, okay, so that we can pass a name, and then we can write a print statement. Okay, print statement, let's say hi, and then space, then followed by the name. Okay, now let us specify our doc string this time. Greets, okay, it should be greets user. Okay, that's it. Now let us call this function. Remember, if we do not call the statement, it won't execute. Okay, let us try to execute this program, and Alt Shift F10. This will show a menu, run menu, context menu, you can say that. Just click on fun 001 current file. Okay, now here you can see my function is executing. I have passed a parameter which goes to the name and prints the name. Okay, hi. So this is one of the basic function we can create in Python. So now let us examine our code. First of all, we have to define a function, and then we have to simply call a function by simply specifying the name of the function and then specify arguments or parameters. Okay, let us try and paste it before we have defined the function. Now obviously my PyCharm wants me that unresolved reference greet. Okay, so you can see if I try to still execute it and see, my PyCharm or Python returns me an error, says name error, name greet is not defined. So you have to define your function before you can call it. Okay, and first line of the function is called function header. Okay, now let us discuss why we need to specify a doc string. Okay, the first string after the function header is called the doc string and is short for documentation string. Okay, it is briefly used to explain what a function does, although it is optional, but documentation is a good programming practice. Unless you can remember what you had for dinner last week, always document your code. Okay, so if your memory is weak, then you should document it properly. Okay, now let us see one more example how we can print a doc string for this. And I'm going to print, let's say greet dot, and I'm going to use underscore underscore doc. Okay, and then two more underscores, and let us try to execute this piece of a code and see. Okay, here you can see greet user. So greet is user is my function stock string. So my Python can pick up this stock string. If you specify, let's say author, let's specify any name, it can be Mahesh, and then execute this piece of a code. Now you can see my doc string. Okay, so this is used for documentation purpose, and anyone can use this doc string to help other programmers what your function does, or explain things you have used in your function. Now let us talk about return statement. Okay, first let us try to put our function call inside the print statement and see what it prints. Let's say I have used a hi, let's make it a comment, and this one is also comment. So I have one print statement, and inside the print statement I have called this function, and let us try to execute this. Now you will see hi name hi is printed, but what is this none? Actually none is the value which is returned by the function, so my print statement is printing none. Okay, now let us create a function which can return something. Okay, def, let's say we are going to have a sum, and now we can specify end and m as a two mem elements. Let's have a sum, or s is equals to 0 first of all, and then I'm going to use a for I in range, let's say n comma m plus 1, and then try to use sum plus is equals to I, and finally return this sum. Okay, so let's say return s. Okay, so now this is pretty straightforward. Now ideally you have to leave 2-line gap between the two functions, so I'm going to do that. And sum is the name of the function, and n and m are the two parameters which I have to pass when calling this function. And my function, what it does, it simply calculates sum of all the numbers between n to m. So let us try to call this function and use print statement. Okay, first without print statement, sum, let's say 1 comma 10. So let us execute this piece of our code. You will see hi, but you won't see any return value from this. If I try to make first statement comment, and then if you try to execute this, you won't see any output because I haven't used a print statement. It returns it, but it doesn't give you any output. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a variable and store the result of the sum. So you can say whatever value I have calculated here will be returned and stored in s, and then I can print this value. Okay, let us try to execute. Now you can see 55 is the output. So from, if you count sum of n 1 to 10, you can do it like this. Okay, this is just an example. Now you may think why we need to return this value. Okay, we can simply print let's say s here after calling it. Okay, let's try to do that, and straight away you can see without executing, my PyCharm again warns me and says unresolved reference. That means this s is not recognized here. But why it is refined here? Because this is a local variable and your scope is local, and so s is visible inside this piece of a block. So what is a scope? Scope of a variable is the portion of a program where the variable is recognized. Parameters and variables defined inside a function are not visible from outside the function, hence they have a local scope. So you can say n and m as well as s have the local scope, and if you try to print here n comma let's say m, all the variables will give me error. Okay, now let us execute this piece of a code, or without executing also you can see that, or see all variables are underlined with red. So let us make it comment. So now I do not need all these lines. Let's get rid of this. Let's simply print y. Okay, One more thing is associated with the function is lifetime of the variable. Means for example, if you define a variable inside the function, you can say what will be the lifetime of the variable. You can call this function many times, so if it exists, then it will keep on utilizing your memory uh, till your program is executing, and that we do not want. So Python is smart enough, and its lifetime is till your program is executing. And let us see the definition of uh, lifetime. The lifetime of a variable is a period throughout which the variable exists in the memory. The lifetime of a variable inside a function is as long as the function executes. They are destroyed. They are destroyed once we return from the function. Hence, a function does not remember the value of a variable from its previous call. Okay, if you try to print the previous value of a n, then you cannot do it. Now let us conclude this video here only. uh, in the next video we are going to revise rest of the chapter. Till that time, goodbye, have a nice day, bye bye.